Ariel attends an AEW Dynamite or pay-per-view. Are you back in the good graces? Is this all
What do you think? What do you
water
think?
under the bridge?
What do you think?
I thought that you kind of got the ball rolling. It is a remarkably different Tony Khan that I think we are seeing in these media settings now. He seems like he's still, he's got his his cards close to the vest, but I think he's less. I think he's a lot more accessible in these interviews, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like he was notoriously like, he was a tough interview. I think he's still a tough interview, but I think he's somewhat come out of this shell over the last few months. And I first saw it like in your interview where it seemed like he came and he understood like we do not want a repeat of the last time, and it was a much more more of a conversation than it was like you holding someone hostage.
I think there are some people behind the scenes in the company, in the PR department, that have helped him get there. So shout out to him. And I think I've said this to you. I think in a different lifetime, Tony Khan and I are probably friends. Like we have a lot of the same interests and we're around the same age. So I don't wish him well. Excuse me. Let me take it back. I don't wish him any ill will. I don't wish him any. I'm very pleased with the interview. I'm really happy he came. I never would have thought he would have come on the show or in studio. I hope he does again. And I've enjoyed having AEW guys on. There was some sort of like blockade, but now it's no longer there. So yeah, I'd be open to it. I was actually going to go. There was I think it was Full Gear at the Prudential Center in November, and there was some talk, but I was traveling, so it didn't work out. I actually have do I say it here? I'll save it for. I have a crazy story surrounding that, but I'll save it for another time. That I know that was awful what I just did, but we'll talk about it later.
By
the way, for a second, I forgot we were actually doing a show.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes.
Any yourself and Tony, do you, when you come out of any of these, do you ever have any like regrets over like the back and forth stuff, or do you feel like that was that was
sorry regrets from back in the day,
the back and forth that the two of you had? Do you feel like that, hey, I was defending myself, I threw bombs, he threw bombs back, it was what it was? Or do you go back and wish
so I know how you feel about it. I know how other people on Post Wrestling and Sean Ross Sapp, I've heard all you guys talk about it and respect your opinion very much. What I'll say is I don't have regrets about the actual like incident in terms of like the interaction that Elimination Chamber weekend. What I do wish that I did a little bit better was in the aftermath of the interview, I shouldn't have been so openly critical about it. There was no need for me to say like, oh, I didn't like the interview and stuff like that. Someone gives you 90 minutes of their time, like just move on with your life. Who cares, right? But again, the way that all came up was we were doing this segment where people asked me questions on the notes, and like someone asked me about it. My memory serves me correct. And so like my whole thing is like, I'm going to tell you how I feel. Could I have like softened my response a little bit? Yeah, for sure. But as far as like that weekend and how it all escalated with all that stuff, the way I viewed it was Tony Khan has always viewed himself as like a wrestling fan, right? Like this is the boyhood dream for him, right? Like he's running a wrestling promotion. This is what he's wanted to do. And there I am living out some kind of fantasy of my own. There I am in my hometown in a building that means a lot to me and all that stuff. And I got an opportunity out of nowhere to do something that I never thought I'd ever do. And like this dude is crapping on me. And so in my mind, I'm like, yeah, F you. But I'll tell you what, like I've heard people talk about it, Meltzer included, like no one was calling him that. Like I didn't take any term. I literally just did that on the spot, like I was just mad that this guy I felt was like trying to ruin my moment. But it wasn't like I was being sent to say that. So no, the point is not to rehash all of this, but the point is if I'm not, the lesson learned is like, if I'm not as critical as I am to begin with, we never even get to that point. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
and I'm not like even coming at it from any like judging point of view. I only look at it in the sense of like, I think that there is like today, I think there's a fine line between like stuff gets hurled your way. And it's like, I experienced a little bit of this. You probably experienced a lot of it, is that there comes a point of like, defending yourself and like how much you allow that you will engage with criticism that you receive from fighters, from personalities that way. And, it's just in terms of how that's going to be received when it's happening like publicly. And it's I think it's a tough balancing act.
Tough. I'm trying. I see stuff every day, and I see fighters, and sometimes I respond, and sometimes I don't. And my general rule is like when you come after my reputation, then I'm gonna hit back, because you know what, the longest time, and especially like I think the ESPN experience was so stifling, where I was told repeatedly, like, you cannot say anything, you can never respond, even if Dana White's going on this show and talking about, like, you cannot say anything. And then at the very end, I weighed in on the Gina Carano controversy, and I got like some pushback for that. And I felt in the aftermath like the shackles had been taken off. And so that's why like the whole Helwani thing, 2021, 22. But now it's like the Carl Froch. I don't look forward to this. I don't like it. I don't want it. It like, I'd much rather, and quite frankly, I know people get excited about beefs. Like the way I view my content is, you're walking your dog, you're a mailman, you're a landscaper, you're a 9-to-5 blue collar worker. Like, I don't think you want to be saddled with this nonsense. I think you want to have fun and this place to be an escape. Time to time, there's going to be some action, cool, but like, I don't want to be known as the angry guy, because I'm not an angry person. So I don't want that to become my identity. But yes, to your point, sometimes you come at me. I do feel like in the past, I always said, don't engage. I've changed my stance a little bit, but I'm not looking to do that. And again, I'll say this about Tony, last thing on this, but I'll say about Tony, like most people in my career that I've gotten into like blowups with don't ever like drop the grudge, right? And we could have both held on to a grudge, whatever it is. And like the fact that he did, and I know he's a promoter and he's trying to sell and blah, 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 but like I give him a lot of credit for showing up. And I think like he was cool, and hopefully he felt like I was cool. And like, about some of the grudges that have been held against me. Like most people are holding on to those grudges. So kudos to him.
Throughout the month of January, you have the chance to lock in your subscription at the Post Wrestling Cafe for all of 2026 before the price increase takes effect February the 1st. Simply sign up before February 1st and you will lock in that price all year long. If that's not enough, this month we have the annual Best and Worst of show as we get together with the Poison Rana crew to look back at 2025. We're also doing live watch-alongs of the Royal Rumbles from 1990 and 1995 with Brandon from New Jersey, a retrospective on the Tanahashi-Okada rivalry, plus reaction to Wrestle Kingdom 20, a review of TNA's debut on AMC, and much more, including TNA Genesis, UFC 324. It's all found at postwrestlingcafe.com.